Surviving with the most primitive tools is one of the biggest challenges a gamer can ever take part in. Being used to go guns blazing in most of the first-person shooters and even horror survivals, a game where you need to craft a major part of your tools and weapons can prove to be a nerve-wracking experience for some people. But because the biggest rewards come only with hard work, let us introduce 10 of the most challenging gaming titles that have us desperately use the most basic of tools as a means of survival. In the aftermath of a great flood that engulfed the land, leaving only islands behind, Scout must travel on the waters on a makeshift raft. She is accompanied by her loyal dog Aesop, and a crude wooden staff is the first object she is equipped with. After a backpack containing a radio is fetched by her canine companion, the journey for survival starts, Scout having to scavenge for useful materials that can be used to craft vital new items, such as insulated clothing for example, that will keep her warm. In MIASMATA, you play as a plague-infected scientist stranded on a remote island, your goal being to find a cure to the disease while avoiding a deadly creature that can stalk you for miles hiding behind tall grass. Equipped with nothing but a map, you must triangulate your position and find the best paths to explore the isle in search of plants and flowers that can be used to prepare remedies in the deserted science lab where your colleagues used to work before a mysterious event led to their deaths. HURTWORLD is an early access multiplayer survival FPS where you constantly have to push your limits to find new materials to craft more advanced weapons, build a base, kill hostile animals, and fight with others for the limited resources on the map. You start off only with some rocks and a few blocks of timber that can be used to kindle a fire, collecting driftwood and combining it with sharp stone being the next step if you want to craft your very first axe. From here on out, the gameplay becomes more engaging and complex as time passes, and you advance into the wilderness. Since the objects you find or craft in the survival horror 7 Days to Die degrade through use, you have to constantly search for new tools and weapons. You can fight with something as simple as a stone axe, or you can find guns with a limited ammo supply. The main point being to survive the night, because this is where the zombies become insanely violent. Most of the time you'll have to make do with whatever makeshift weapon you have, hoping that come dawn you'll still be alive and able to scavenge for some more materials. With a unique graphic design inspired by Tim Burton's art, Don't Starve starts you off with Wilson, a scientist who finds himself in a dark and dreary world where he must find means of survival while keeping his mental sanity intact. The player who takes control of this depressive hero must quickly find resources to start a fire and cook food, the inventory being totally barren at the beginning of the game. During the night, vicious creatures lurk in the shadows, so Wilson must hurry up and craft his very first axe before the sun sets. A group of civilians is trying to subsist in a city ravaged by war, the scarcity of food, water, and medicine being topped by the threat posed by the hostile scavengers and the deadly snipers that can hunt you down. This war of mine is a horrifying excursion into a torn-apart world where there are no bad or good decisions, surviving being the only moral guide you have. Crafting, trading, and taking care of survivors with the few and simple resources you can find can prove to be the most challenging task you could ever encounter in a video game. The infinite procedurally generated world of STRANDEED challenges the players to survive in some of the most life-threatening scenarios. As the resources you gather are limited, you need to permanently manage them and make the best decisions when it comes to how much of them you can carry, being highly important to prioritize your tasks. You can craft simple tools such as a crude axe, a stone hammer, a knife, and a spear, the rest of the objects being found on the bottom of the ocean in reefs or in sunken ships. When you begin your journey in the harsh open world of Rust, you are provided with the simplest of utensils, a rock. This is the main tool you'll have to use to collect wood splinters necessary to craft your first torchlight, stone hatchet, and stone pickaxe. Next up, you'll have more and more options of crafting tools and weapons, but the fact that you have to gradually advance and you don't simply find a firearm laying around on the ground makes the gameplay much more rewarding. After you are rescued by Conan the Barbarian from the awful crucifixion you were subjected to, you become an exile that now has to navigate the harsh desert, scorched by the relentless heat that pushes your survival limits. Wearing only rags or nothing at all, depending on how you customize your character, you start literally with no tools and strive to find even the most primitive of materials to craft a hatchet. Hostile creatures and NPCs populate some of the areas of the exiled lands, so you must fight for your life with great determination. With a non-linear gameplay, The Forest allows its players to explore the island and find out the best ways of surviving. By first creating shelter, makeshift weapons and other necessary survival tools, you must defend yourself from a tribe of nocturnal cannibalistic mutants who become extremely violent during the night. Fire is an essential element that will keep the enemies away, and the hatchet that you can find after the plane crashes is your sole and most trusted weapon, but also a valuable tool at the beginning. This was our list showcasing some of the best survival games that have you use the crudest of tools, and we hope you've enjoyed our video. If you did, please press that like button as we do appreciate it and it helps us immensely. Now would also be a great time to encourage you to subscribe, because we upload new stuff all of the time, so subscribing will keep you up to date with all of our latest videos. We want to know what your favourite game is on this list. You can vote by following the link in the description below or going to fraghero.com/primitive survival tools. What are you waiting for? Go vote now!